Happy 2024. I'm super excited to start this new year with some really fun projects. This video is packed full of DIYs and hacks that you're going to love. My top projects that you'll have to try for 2024. Please give me a big thumbs up and let's get on into it. Scrolling through the Dollar Tree, these just made me completely stop. I was so excited to grab some of these, and I actually thought that maybe the words were kind of engraved on it, but they weren't. So happy about that. So I was able to take a piece of sandpaper and actually just sand away the words. It did take a little bit of the brown wood off, the stain finish, but it still looks really good, and I'm going to use it as is, not even having to paint it or stain it. It just looks like a little bit of a lighter wood. I do go over it a little bit more to kind of blend it in. I cut away the little bow at the top, but you definitely could leave that. I just wanted to be able to sand under it, remove the little glue dot that they had added, and then I just had the perfect blank cutting board that I could decorate for $1.25. That is an incredible deal. I usually pick up my cutting boards from Dollar General for decorative purposes, but even there you're going to pay like $6. So then I had this fun idea to just kind of draw a little wreath. I looked one up on Pinterest. Now I didn't even like trace it. You could have like printed it out and copied it over there, but I didn't even worry about getting it perfect. I just was inspired by this wreath and just kind of took a permanent marker. I traced around a bowl to get that circular shape, and then just kind of made some random little vines and leaves. Being inspired off of the wreath, it's not looking exactly like that. Thank goodness, because I wouldn't have been able to get it like that, but just doing the best I could and trying to have fun with it. A couple of the leaves I didn't love, but I was able to blend them in, and I loved how it turned out. And then I wanted to add in an initial inside of the wreath that I just drew on there. So I used some large poster stickers, and I'm thinking these came from Walmart maybe. They're a little bit bigger than the Dollar Tree ones, but stuck the initial right in the middle, press it down. You can coat this with a Mod Podge or like polyacrylic to make sure it's all going to stay in place, but just for now I left it as is, but just looks so gorgeous, and can't believe I'd done this with a Sharpie. So I recently shared in a Dollar Tree haul that I found this huge high quality sign at Dollar Tree for $3. This was an incredible deal compared to the smaller like natural unfinished wood pieces that they sell for $5 in Crafter's Square. So I love them as they are, so I grabbed a couple and left them as they are, but I did grab extra ones as well as this little house sign so that I could pair this together and make it a sign that I could use every day rather than just for Easter, and more of like a high-end look. So this specific house, I actually started with like the big one that they sell at Dollar Tree, and it covered too much of the green wreath that was left behind after I removed the bunny, and I didn't like it, so this one was a little bit smaller. It did have the writing on it, so I'm just going to pop off the little roof piece, flip it over, and then paint this with some mineral color chalk paint. I do let that completely dry and then sand over it so it has a little bit of texture in it and gives it more of like that rustic look. And then this is going to cover the bunny, and then what's left is that every bunny welcome at the bottom. I still love the welcome sign or how it's written. I think it's really pretty. Obviously we just need to cover up the little bunny to make this more of an everyday piece rather than an Easter piece, so I will be covering that with some ribbon. I glued this little house down in place, and it was just plain. It needed something. I really didn't want to paint on doors and windows, so I found this little charm. They have these little beads with initials on the bottom, so just look for your initial and then pop that off, and then I tacked this down in place, and this was perfect. It already has the welcome at the bottom, so I didn't want to put a big word on the house. I didn't want to put a heart, so I wasn't sure what to go with, but the initial worked out great. And then I'm just trying to make sure that that bunny word is not going to pop through this ribbon, so I sanded it down a little bit and then just kind of stack this ribbon up, but obviously you could use any ribbon that you prefer. So this was an incredible way to camouflage in all of those little glue spots or words that we wanted to cover up. It still looks like it's meant to be there. It's not all tacky with just things through on it. I seriously would have considered putting a ribbon there anywhere or filling in that blank space if it didn't have the words on it, but I think this is adorable and would also make an incredible gift.
So
Dollar Tree really stepped it up this year. They are putting out some really big signs that are just blank and ready to craft with. I feel like these are a large size for the $1.25 price point, and so many things you can do with these rather than just hanging them on the wall or making over the same sign. So for this, I just removed the little jute twine hangers on each of them, and taking 2 of these like hefty candle holders or candle stands, I'm painting them this gold spray paint. I am reusing one of them, so I just am going over the original gold a little bit so they do match, and then trying to get these as center as possible and stacking these up 3 signs high. And this looks really cute decorated. I'm just using some lightweight little decor pieces, but you also could use this for like makeup organization or just other lightweight products. You also could consider using like a stronger glue rather than the hot glue for a longer lasting adhesive, but I feel like this turned out super easy, very inexpensive, and it has like that light wood like boho farmhouse look to it, and looks really pretty styled with some like candles as well as wooden beads and some plants. And then alongside those large blank signs, they actually have ones ready to go with words already on them. They have like a natural wood finish, and I love how they look, but to get an even bigger, higher end impact, you can just glue these to like 2 bigger boards. All of these boards are still at the $1.25 price point, and these like darker wood ones are huge. I feel like you're getting a great deal. I love how they're blank. They don't have any cutouts at the top like we've seen boards previously at Dollar Tree, but for this, I just marked the exact size or width of the thankful sign, and then cut these 2 down with a utility knife. You can just score it a few times by going over the same cut. It'll easily break off. You can sand any excess that's left behind, but usually you get a clean cut. And then I'm gluing this board on both of these, and I just love it so much more. I feel like it is a bigger sign, and it's going to take up a lot more space and look nicer quality like you didn't pick it up at Dollar Tree. Whenever I see all of this metal decor at Dollar Tree, a lot of times I pass on it, but I had a really fun idea to pick up these. They just caught my eye. They were kind of in the spring decor section, but they were sold like individually on their own hanger. I wanted to remove these and make these part of like a bigger piece. Once again, going for a larger look to get more of an impact, whether you're hanging that on the wall or setting it on a shelf. For these, I wanted more of like that green boho color. So if you want to paint your flowers anything but green, you can, but for this I'm just going for more of a neutral look. I go ahead and paint the tops with a moss green color. This is by the Waverly chalk paint that I pick up at Walmart, and then the bottoms I painted more of like a dark gray color. I let these completely dry, and then I feel like what made a world of difference on these was taking a piece of sandpaper and lightly sanding over these so that the like embossed area or the raised up metal would show through. So it's going to show that extra detail and make it look a lot nicer. I shared with you what it looks like before and after, and then all of those details just show up, so I love it so much more. Glued these down in place, and then I do still have the holes at the top, so filled those in with some hot glue and then painted over it. I found this huge like high quality blank board at Hobby Lobby, so I did pay a few extra bucks than I usually would for it, but these do go on sale sometimes if you wait for their sales. But you also could put together like a bigger Dollar Tree sign, like the same way we attached the darker boards in the previous craft. I was blown away whenever I saw that Dollar Tree sells resin, so I was dying to try it out using those same little mini flowers. I wanted to try it and use the resin as like the little fake water in the bottom of a vase. Now I have done this with Mod Podge, just kind of letting it dry in multiple layers, but it doesn't show up as as much as like the real resin does. So following the directions, it says mix 1 part resin, 1 part hardener, and mix it together. I decided to just make this easy and as clean as possible, so I put it right directly into the vase, but you can also mix this in like a plastic cup and then pour it in there. And then started to add the flowers. Now these little dainty flowers that I was using didn't stand up very well on their own, so I just got a little pick that I already had and cut it apart and started putting like the larger flowers first, the ones that could kind of lean against the edges, and they held each other up so perfect, and I was so excited. Now the resin is $5 from Dollar Tree, but I still feel like that is a great deal. If you purchase like the fake water in craft stores, it's over $10, as well as like a already put together arrangement at like TJ Maxx. You can pay like really higher prices to get that like fake water look. So loved how this turned out, an incredible idea that I'll keep using over and over. I just shared a haul on my channel where I found these large wooden slices with a little jute twine holder on them, and I love them. Pick them up if you see them and grab some extra, because these are going to go so fast. I've already ran in the same Dollar Tree and they're already gone, but I hope you guys can find some of these. If not, lots of different craft stores sell these type of wooden slices. I'm going to pair these with 2 of Dollar Tree's candle holder stands. Now these were kind of the same shape. I love how they're bigger at the bottom and they get smaller at the top, so I thought it'd be really cute to set these wooden slices on top to create like a rustic scenery. But this is not all I'm doing. I'm going to actually put this into a full piece, so stay tuned to see how it looks at the end. But I thought I would give it a tiny bit more of a modern look and look like it's more intentional rather than just threw together. So I took a little bit of my chalkboard black paint. I picked this up at Dollar Tree. I love this paint. I wish they would come out with some different colors, and I just kind of followed the ring on the wooden slice to paint my black inside so it looked more natural. And then it took the candle stands outside, spray painted them with some gold paint. One of them was already gold, but I wanted them to kind of coordinate and match together. Glued these down and then put them together. Now you could leave these as is, but in my Dollar Tree Plus, they had a $5 large wood slice, and I thought this looked incredible, kind of holding the 2 smaller ones together. This looks like such a gorgeous modern rustic piece. I just love it so much. Online, I ran across a lot of these modern circular candle holders, and I knew we could make one using Dollar Tree items, so I picked up a pack of these bamboo rings, or you could use an embroidery hoop, as well as one of the longer, thinner pieces of wood. I did cut it down, so it was the perfect size just to be like a stand for these embroidery hoops. I wanted it to have like a mixed tone look, so I do go ahead and paint the base black, as well as the bigger ring, but leaving the smaller ring the like original bamboo color. I let these completely dry and then went ahead and attached the largest ring onto the base. And then, like I mentioned, the little bamboo one, which I think looks really, really good. It matches a lot of my style. I love the wood tones everywhere, as well as the like natural bamboo look. So I went ahead and glued that down. I did secure this with a little bit of extra hot glue down in the back, and you can paint over that black if you want to. I just left it as is. And then I wanted to create a little stand for my candle. So using one of the smaller little wood slices from Dollar Tree and stuck that just on a bead that I had on hand. You could stick any kind of tower block or square block that you have, but just was really careful and got it to stick down in the middle. And then I worried if you do want to kind of camouflage in the hot glue or add a little bit of extra touch or warmth in the greenery to the bottom, I glued a couple of pieces underneath the wood and just stuck a little candle in here. I'm not going to burn this. If you wanted to light something up, you could use an LED light, but I feel like I achieved the perfect modern look, but on a super cheap budget. Next up, I was so excited to see this like cutting board shaped decor piece at Dollar Tree. Now these were hanging in different sections. I found one in the crafty section as well as one kind of more in like the home decor section, so just look around at your store. I picked up several of them. Now I originally thought I was going to put 4 of these together, but I ended up just being able to use 3, so it made it even cheaper at $3.75. I used hot glue, but feel free to use wood glue, but I just added a ton of hot glue in here just to be really quick, but you could use any adhesive you'd like. Went ahead and attached all 3 of these together. Now the holes didn't line up perfectly, so I will go in and just use a drill to get the hole, or you could stick the bottom end of a paintbrush in or the back end of a paintbrush in there and it just kind of like work out the hole better, so you can add a little hanger at the top. Now the secret to this is to make it look like one piece. So we're taking the cheap flimsy little cutting board that Dollar Tree has that you easily could just crack in half, and we're making it super thick so it's a nicer piece. You're going to get a better, like a higher quality look for a lot less. I know that cutting boards are everywhere right now, personalized ones and plain ones and the wood ones, so this is an incredible way to get those like high-end modern looks on a budget. So for this I just took some wood filler, went all the way around the edges, and that's going to be able to camouflage the layers so no one is ever going to know that this is multiple pieces of cheap Dollar Tree pieces. So I let that completely dry, sanded it down flat so nothing would show up underneath the paint, painted it this white. You could go for any color that you would like, but I feel like whenever you use wood filler on like a lighter, cheaper wood, the stain doesn't always cover that, so I did want to paint it, so I went with white, and then I'm going to add a little accent stripe in the middle. I didn't have any of the leather straps on hand, so I wanted to make my own. I have some of this leftover leather ribbon that did come from the Dollar Tree, but you could use anything you have on hand. I had to cut it in half to get it to fit through the top hole, and then just kind of knotted this at the top and let it hang, and it made the perfect little hanger. This board would look really cute with a large initial on it or personalize it for someone, but I just wanted to go really simple. I want to stack this. I love the look of the stacked cutting boards setting on like a shelf or your countertop. So for this, I put a couple of pieces of painter's tape down, and that's going to be the actual place that I paint, and then taking more painter's tape and putting on the outside of that so that everything just lines up perfect and it was all evenly spaced out without having to measure or anything. That's the easiest way that I found to do it. And then I just painted inside with some mineral colored chalk paint. And whenever I peeled the painter's tape away, this was exactly what I was envisioning. I think it looks so gorgeous popping off of that darker wood cutting board. And believe it or not, I actually picked that one up from Dollar General. So you can always find gorgeous pieces, and it's just incredible how you can stack them together and make them look even higher end, even though you're still sticking with dollar store items. I have been obsessed with using these wooden slices from the Dollar Tree. You see me use them all the time. They have the smaller packs and the like multi-packs. Smaller ones or these that have the jute twine hanger are $1.25 each, but I still feel like that is a good price compared to what it is. I pulled the jute twine hanger off and it did pop some of the bark off. I just glued that back in place. No one's ever going to know, but I feel like this was a really fun hack to get a high-end look, bringing in, it has like the black metal, it has the wood touches as well as some gold. Now, I'm going to be honest here, I thought that this was a rub-on transfer when I first got it out of the package. I wasn't paying attention. I just have a drawer full of rub-on transfers, so that's what I thought it was, and it wasn't rubbing on there. So then I read it was an iron-on transfer, but I thought, hey, this was a great opportunity to see if the iron-on would work on wood, and it actually worked really, really well. I used my heat gun just to heat it up enough. You can tell the paper starts to curl and just kind of peel up a little bit whenever it is starting to attach. Just make sure you give it plenty of heat without getting too close, and watch your fingers. But I'm using a popsicle stick and just kind of smoothing this out as I go, and I love the look of it. I feel like it's just unique. You don't expect like gold foil on a wood slice, but it has a really cool effect when you get it done. I didn't want to do the same thing for the second one, so I thought I would just give it a couple of little accent pieces of the gold down in the bottom corner, and then once again trying to give it that like fake look that these are different sizes. So tried to glue one of the wooden slices all the way to the top and then push the second one down as far as I could without you being able to see the black backing, but found those little stands at Dollar Tree as well. So I've had this like old cheaper palette sign laying around forever and never put it to good use. So I just thought I would have fun with it. So I laid it out and thought how I was going to paint the stencils on these, and I felt like it had one plank too many, so I was able to just kind of break that off and then use my miter shears to cut away the excess wood. But it worked out perfect, leaving the 3 panels. I'm able to put the stencils at the top and the bottom and then a word in the middle. I did have a little accident. I thought this paint was already open, or maybe it was and it dried shut again because I like to poke the hole in the paint cap, but it obviously wasn't. So whenever I tried to squeeze it, it just splattered everywhere. It wasn't a big deal. I went ahead and just painted what I wanted green. This is the moss green color, but I did have to let that middle panel dry before I come in and painted it white. And next I'm using the olive branch stencil, and I was going to do the top and then the bottom, but then I discovered if I turned it up and down I could do both at the same time. So I just took painter's tape to cover the middle white plank because I didn't want to get well, it's white paint, so it really wouldn't have mattered if I would have gotten in there. I didn't think about that whenever I was taping the stencil down, but I always see all of these things that I could have changed whenever I am watching this back. Just like you guys, a lot of you all tell me or suggest things, and sometimes it's things I know, I just don't think about it at the time. I'm usually like blasting music or my kids are talking to me. So anyways, I just do the best I can, but I am taking my stencil brush and just dabbing on this white paint, and this is a gorgeous pattern. I love this so much. I feel like it's the perfect size little vines like scattered throughout with the little olives on there, but leaving them the neutral color. I love the pattern on this. It just made me super happy. I feel like this goes perfect. It is exactly my style and just so gorgeous. Just imagine like if you wanted to sell these at a craft show, you could just really like keep cranking these out. To put the word in the middle, I'm just using a Dollar Tree word. This is a metal family word. I just glued it down with some E6000 and let that completely dry. First up, I am using one of these wooden snakes. I'm actually shocked to keep seeing these out at Dollar Tree. I just feel like they wouldn't sell that many to keep bringing them back off and on. But I think as much as I craft, I don't think I've ever used one of these wooden snakes in my DIY projects. I thought it was a perfect time to go ahead and create some fun like decor with it. So the first thing I did was snap off the head and the tail, so you obviously couldn't tell that this was a snake, and it left this fun pattern behind. So I'm wrapping it around one of these wooden circles. Now this one come from Hobby Lobby for like $1.99, but they do sell similar options at Dollar Tree, or you could use any flat circular piece. And then I laid it out so I could get the perfect fit, trimmed away any of the excess pieces that I needed to cut away, and then just glued this straight to the wooden piece. Now at first I worried about the glue kind of poking out of the top, but I ended up adding another layer of these wooden beads. Now these are from fall, but Dollar Tree keeps bringing out more like wooden bead strands, which is perfect for all these craft projects, but just being super careful to get this as even as possible. Just to add a little bit of extra security, I'm flipping this over and going around it with some more glue. Now obviously you can use wood glue if you want a stronger hold, but just to make videos I always tend to use hot glue. It's just super fast. But like I mentioned, trying to put another layer around the top, and I feel like this is bringing in so much texture. I'm just going to be going over this with some white wash paint, or just like dry brushing white paint on here. So I feel like all of this texture is going to show through and make it look like a nicer quality piece. I wanted this to stand up tall like a riser, so I did pick up one of these concrete like little tea light holders, and I'm going to be flipping that upside down underneath of this, and I wanted it to match. So going over with the white paint, and I did struggle a little bit to get it down the groove, so if you wanted to paint this white first you could before you glue everything together, but this worked out fine. I love how the natural wood is showing through the white paint. After I let this dry, all there's left to do is just glue the candle holder on the bottom of the circle. I tried to get it in the center the best I could. Flip this over and it's ready to go, but this will be the perfect little area to house any candles. You could hang some wooden beads off of here. I'm using it for a little plant riser. So every time my little girls see these rainbows, they always want to pick them up, and they have one for their room, but you can actually turn this into some really fun neutral decor if you want, if you don't want to put a rainbow in your living area. But this turned out even better than expected. So they do have like a paper decor piece on the front. So all I did was soak it with a little bit of a damp paper towel and just let it sit there, not soaking it, but letting it get damp, and the sticker will start to peel up. So I'm using my scraper to get all of that away. I let the MDF dry out, and then going in with some mineral color chalk paint and painting the entire thing. I let this dry and then distressed it a little bit with a piece of coarse sandpaper. I love the lines that it puts in this chalk paint. And then here comes the best part. I'm taking my drill and just drilling in, not too far because I don't want to go all the way through, but drilling 5 holes, getting them as even as possible, but it really doesn't matter. But I have seen like on Pinterest where they have like the feathers coming out of the top of a rainbow shaped planter. So that's kind of what I was going for. I found these new little blueberry picks at Dollar Tree, and they just caught my eye. I felt like they were gorgeous, so I picked up several of them, hopefully enough for another project. But pulling them off of their stem and just tucking them down inside of these little holes with a little dab of hot glue so they don't fall out. But just loved how this turned out and how you could customize this for any color. You could go more like boho, putting some like of those like fluffy plants in there, but I feel like it looks really cool and just a unique project. Another favorite hack is to just check your local thrift store, pick up an inexpensive lamp. I found this little mini one that I love so much. It was only $3, so an incredible deal. And I'm going to cut the cord on this. My daughter was actually in the room and she thought that I was doing something wrong, so I told her to never do this. But I wanted to trim the cord because I'm just going to be setting this outside on like a side table and putting its own little solar light inside. So you're not going to need any plug-in or cord. And I just trimmed it down as small as I could. You could fill this in with hot glue and touch it up on the paint if it bothered you, but I'm just going to turn it towards the back. Now the shade was a little beat up, but it's going to be outside, and I knew the weather was going to eventually knock it over, so I wasn't worried about it being perfect. But I put the lampshade on there and it held nice and tight, filled this full of hot glue, and then added in one of the Dollar Tree solar lights. You want to put this in a place that it does get sunshine, but this is such a quick like 5-minute hack to add extra lighting into your patio area, and it just looks so beautiful lit up at night. Thank you all so much for checking out today's video. I'm super excited to get back to crafting for the 2024 year, starting a fresh year with some new fun ideas. So make sure you are subscribed, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crafting! Bye!